Hi everybody, I'm Ari. I'm from CureFacts. I'm going to tell you my story, how I started a startup that is an impact startup. It's supposed to help the world. I'll start with a small, short question. How many of you are from United States? Raise your hands, okay? How many of you are not from United States? Okay. Which other countries? Israel, that's a country, yeah? That's it? Okay, so because my initial target audience is United States, I think you'll feel at home with my lecture. So, how I became a social entrepreneur and an impact entrepreneur. Let's start from the beginning. It all started with a very simple question that every year we ask ourselves as parents. Should we or shouldn't we give our babies and our children the flu shot? In Israel, at least about half of the doctors that are supposed to take to get immune for themselves don't do it. And so I had this question, should I or shouldn't I give it to my children if the doctors don't do it? So what's going on? Why was I the one that was in charge in my family for this question? Well, beside the fact that I love my children, this is my middle daughter, Tom. The reason is that I have a master degree in human genetics. I worked intensively with viruses and with antibodies and so on. So supposedly, I'm supposed to know about this stuff. But with all my training and education, later on in my life, I become a consultant, innovation consultant, strategic consultant. I work with some of the companies you've seen, like Google, IBM, and so on. But still, I have this scientific background, so I'm supposed to solve this riddle. Should or shouldn't I give my children the flu vaccine? So I started, like almost everybody do, with Google. It took me about 2 hours. And I read some articles that said that if I give the flu shot, I'm going to kill my children. And I read some articles that said, if I'm not going to give it, I'm going to? Okay. So that's the common experience in Google. You see this, you see that, and then you end up more confused than you started with. But I didn't give up. I love my children. So I sank into very complex scientific papers. I have the background so I can read them. It took 5 more very long hours, and it was around midnight. And then I found out during these hours that the effectiveness of the flu shot is about 97%. Other articles said it's about 3%. So I was very confused, but towards midnight, what I found out a systematic review, which is a summary of all the clinical trials that have ever been done. And the summary was very, very clear, and I got my answer. And the answer was that in this specific case, I'm not against vaccines. I think it's one of the greatest inventions in medicine history. But in this specific case, the flu shot, it says very loud and clear that it's not effective. I'll show you later on why. But also, that was the point around midnight when I thought to myself, maybe, just maybe, I have an idea here for a startup. What I thought is, if with all my training and education, it took me 7 very complex and long hours to get a very simple answer that is very explicit and clear-cut when you find the right source, maybe other people face the same problem. So I wanted to see if it's a big problem, if there is a demand to this problem, and if it's also economically viable, if there is also an economical meaning to this problem. So the problem is, how can people get good information about medical treatments in an effective way and in a reliable way? So I started looking. Since I'm a strategic consultant, I know how to look. So I started looking. I looked at different things. The first thing I found out, there is a huge demand to healthcare information. In fact, 1 in 20 searches in Google is not about sex, and it is not about stock exchange, which we're here, right? It's about healthcare. It's probably the second or the third most common search. So 175 million searches in a day. In fact, it means that if you have Google, if you have access to internet, on average, as a human being on this planet, you look for healthcare information once a month. Some of you look every hour, okay? And some never, but the average is once a month. So there is a very big demand. I found out in the New Yorker an article that is very recommended if you're interested in these topics. It's called Overkill. You can find it in the internet. And what it said is that United States spends 8 times more money on healthcare than the average global expenditures, twice than Europe, by the way, with results, with medical results that are no better than Europe and other countries, meaning there is a big problem. And in the United States, they waste a lot of money on healthcare that is unnecessary. And can you guess which states in the United States spend the most?
Florida and Arizona, because there's old people everywhere.
Think big.
New York.
Texas. Texas, these countries around it spend the most, and meaning they spend on average twice than the average of United States, which is 8 times more than the global average. So they waste a lot of money, time, effort on redundant treatments. And the New Yorker article spoke about a clinic chain, maybe 10 locations with maybe 100 doctors that decided to give money to the doctors if they don't send to unnecessary treatment. Usually, if I send to unnecessary treatment as a doctor, maybe I get some money out of it, okay? But in this case, they wanted to pay them if they don't send, okay? What happened is that they stopped sending people to unnecessary checks and treatments and estimates and so on. Mortality rate in their population compared to the same population before the same clinics went down half. Okay, so it's not only there is a big demand, actually, if you take the wrong treatments, it kills. Why does it kill? First of all, because you don't take the right treatment. So there is a delay until you get the right treatment, and then your condition become less good and so on, worse, okay? The second thing is that the medications and the procedures by themselves can damage. Okay, it's not only the delay of the good treatment. Some treatments really damage. In fact, the estimate is that about 10 or above % of deaths in the entire globe are attributed to unnecessary treatments and damaging treatments. So probably it's among the 2 or 3 biggest causes of death. Okay, so it's a very big problem, which in my respect, is good. There is a problem to work on. I also found out there was a research that in the United States 6 years ago, the estimate was that they spent $210 billion on unnecessary healthcare services, treatments, and so on. So there is also a very big economical aspect to it. Just to put you in the right page, 10% of the universe, the global economy, is on healthcare, okay? And the estimate is that between 30 to 70% of it is unnecessary and redundant. So we're speaking about 3 to 7% of the world economy that is unnecessary and also causes damages. So I saw there is a demand. I saw that without knowing what to take, people really get lots of damages. and die. And I saw that it's also a very big economical issue. So then I decided, okay, I'm not going to vaccinate my children in flu shot, but I'm going to make a startup, CureFacts. The idea of CureFacts is to reduce worldwide, but we start with United States because that's the biggest problem. So to reduce worldwide the frequency of the unnecessary and damaging medical treatments. This is a vision. Vision is something you can never achieve. The idea is you always want to go forward towards it, but there is always more work. This is great because then you can wake up every morning with a vision and with a mission, because there is always what to do. Currently, we can reduce from 30 to 70% of the unnecessary treatments from all the treatments, so we can reduce 1%, 2%, 3%. The more we'll do it, there will still be work to do. So that's a vision. How we do it, our mission, the way we want to fulfill our vision, is to take the most scientific data and facts and information that exist in the world, meaning systematic reviews, summary, mathematical, statistical summary of all clinical trials ever been done. And all this information exists. We know how to process it. And to make it accessible to all. What do I mean by to all? I mean anyone, almost people that are almost illiterate, okay, in the United States and in other countries, can look at what we do and understand, should I take it or shouldn't I take it? So the challenge is to take the most scientific data, which is boring, okay, and to make it clear-cut to everybody. It is clear-cut, only you have to make it clear-cut to everybody. So it looks something like this. For example, my children can take either the live nose spray, live flu viruses, or they can take the flu shot, which is with inactivated viruses, okay? Let's look at this one, because this is the most common procedure in Israel, and that was the question I was looking into. So you can see that it's ineffective. It's enough. If you don't have time, you just look at it. Let's look at something, you don't see it here, but something green that is effective. Let's take that instead of this. That's easy. But it also tells you why we decided it's ineffective. First of all, there is a lot of evidence. Actually, 75 studies with 300,000 children. That's a lot of studies, okay? The results were that its effectiveness is negligible. To be more precise, it prevents only 1 in 28 flu cases, and not the complication. I'll explain. If my children take it every year, there will be parents with children before it will influence them, okay? And then they have to take another treatment because they're no longer children, they're adults. And also, the populations, the children that are in danger of getting lung cancer, hospitalization, and so on, it will not help them anyhow. Why? Because their immune system is not strong enough and it doesn't help them. So we give something ineffective to basically all Americans. It's a lot of money. Somebody makes a lot of money out of it. But the point is, as a parent, I'm not sure I want it. And again, bear in mind, I'm very much for vaccinations, but not for this specific treatment. You can see other results on other things, but let's move on. Behind the scenes, what we have, by the way, at the end, I'll have a small exercise with you, and also questions, answers, and so on, okay? So behind the scenes, what we have is a natural language processing engine, okay? That takes all the data from systematic reviews and creates what you've seen before. Of course, if I go back here, you can read more and you get much more data. I'll show you some screens later on. You can go to the article to see where I take it from. You can save it and bring it to the pharmacist, to the doctor, to your friend, and you can share it with friends, with parents, with families. We found out that 50% of the cases, people are looking for healthcare information for other people. And the most common is female that take care of their children, of their husband, of themselves, of their parents. Okay, so they really search a lot, and many times not for themselves, so they can share it. Let's move a little bit into the business model. The market of healthcare information services is 88 billion, and it grows between 50 to 25% depending on the player. So it's double-digit strong growth. Strategically, if you make a startup, maybe it's a great idea, but you want to see if you have a market. If the market is big and grows, you're in the right place as long as you can compete with very strong competitors. Who are the competitors? So basically, what we claim is that CureFacts is more accessible and more reliable than all the other competitors. These competitors here are online resources that are pretty reliable, but only doctors know to read them, so they're not so accessible. However, even these resources, most of them, the data is based on one clinical trial, on 2 clinical trials, not on all existing ever clinical trials. WebMD also is based usually on 1 clinical trial and is more accessible. Healthline, the way I see it, is more like between New York Times to USA Today. It's more popular, more nice to read, and so on, a little bit less reliable. Google, as we discussed before, is really unreliable. And what we try to differentiate ourselves is to say we are the most accessible and the most reliable. The data is reliable and it's easy to read. There are indirect competitors. For instance, you can go to the pharmacist. Usually the pharmacist, as a salesperson, coming to him and speaking based on one article, you should prescribe this or recommend this and this treatment to your consumers or customers. Okay? So usually the other resources, even the doctor is not so accessible. You have to set up an appointment. Maybe it will take a few days. And again, the doctor, I know because I worked with many pharmaceutical companies and clinicals and hospitals and so on. So usually we send salespeople to a sales representative to speak with the doctors based on one clinical trial. Okay? And there are other options, but basically most of the options are, again, not as reliable and as accessible. As I mentioned before, we focus on United States because it's strange. United States is about 5 to 10% of the world population, right? 5%. And it spends about 45% on healthcare of the entire world. Okay, so they spend too much. And also one thing good about Americans is that they have some consumer awareness. They have consumer report and so on. So they want to get information about treatments. And in a way, what I'm doing is choosing a treatment as easy as choosing something in eBay. Just compare, look at the comparison tables, and so on. As I said, women with families are the main focus of main target group. Also, we have senior citizens between 60 to 80. We called it in Israel young olds. Okay, they're functional, they have smartphones, they have iPads, they do things, they have free time, and they actually change the economy. These are the baby boomers that are coming to age and becoming retired and have a lot of time. Usually it's the biggest demographic trend in the world. And when they were 20s, it was Woodstock, and now they're retiring, so they really influence the market. And they take care of themselves, but they also take care of friends. Some of them, 1 in 10, is retired, he has free time, he visits his friends in hospitals, he's the expert among the friends regarding to healthcare, and this is his third career. This is what he does. So he also takes a lot of information from the internet. but how can we succeed? I mean, WebMD, it's a giant, right? How can I, with my own budget, we're pre-seed, we're going to raise some money now. We're just completing the alpha version of our product, which is the first version with 200, 300 treatments. How can I compete with giants? Well, the thing is that there are about 30 websites or online information resources in the United States that each of them has more than 10 million visitors per month. So there is a lot of space in between these. And what we're going to do, first of all, since 99.99% of the healthcare information requests on the internet starts with Google, even when you go to WebMD, usually you start with Google, we have to have a very strong SEO capability, search engine information, and we implement it built in our system. We do some tricks, okay? By the way, everything is legal and it works with Google. Google is a client of mine, so I really like Google, and we work by the rules, but we work smart in order to ensure that when people search, they're going to see our website. The second thing, and that's the most exciting thing, and this is where your job starts, okay, is social marketing. What we're going to do is we're going to place guest posts in various places that will say things like, did you know that the CDC, it can be also a video, by the way, did you know that the CDC, Center of Disease Control, budget is $8 billion? Did you know that $7.5 billion out of this money that is supposed to cover all diseases, for instance, AIDS and whatever, but 7.5 out of this $8 billion go to flu shots, okay? So what do you think? Are they going to fire 7 out of 8 people, or even more, 15 out of 16 people, and say, okay, we admit it's not so effective? They're not going to do it. So once we play something like this, people will say yes and no, and there will be a lot of things. But the idea is that we raise a discussion. And the discussion is around trick or treatment. Is it a trick or is it a treatment? Some treatments are treatments, and some are not. And if you can tell the difference, you can save your life, your family, your friends. We did MVP. MVP is a minimal viable product only on flu in the United States around Christmas last year. We found out many things. For instance, that people that look for healthcare information do it off work hours, even on Christmas and on Saturday. And surprisingly, and that's very nice to see, we placed an ad, people looking for information about flu shots or flu in Google. We placed an AdWord, and 700 people came into our website. Usually, the bounce rate, meaning the first page you put, how many people don't enter, okay? Usually it's 66. 2 out of 3 that reach your page, look at it, say, it's not interesting, go out, okay? In our case, and that was really nice to see, 2/3 went in, only 1/3 was left out. Now, this is very exceptional. Besides, we placed only 5 pages there, and people on average saw 3 pages. So people entered and then looked at 3 out of 5 pages on average. That's really, really exceptional. So we hope that when we have the full version, not just a minimal viable product, we're going to have good results. We're now finalizing our alpha version with 100 treatments. Later on, we'll do the beta with 1,000 treatments, but between here and here, we need to raise money because it costs money to do the beta. And next year, we hope to launch the product with 10,000 treatments. Why is it 10,000? Why isn't it 30,000? Any idea? Yes? Again? Not exactly. Any other idea?
There's a lot of redundant treatments that wind up not.
It's much more simple than that. How many treatments do you think there are? For instance, RX, prescription drugs. How many prescription drugs are allowed by the FDA? Only 2,000, that's all. Okay? You have a book of the RX, the drugs, it's a book like this. You can look. So it's not a book, it's a book. Everything enters there. So there are not so many treatments. There are 20,000 treatments. 10,000 of them are already covered with systematic reviews, and this is what we're going to do. Later on, we're going to create a system to have more systematic review. Yeah.
Is your site going to cover upcoming treatments, things that are in the process of FDA approval?
Not at all.
So not at all.
Not at all. Why?
Only
Okay,
FDA
it's a good question. We're going to cover any type of treatment, starting with alternative medicine and vitamins and prescription drugs and over-the-counter drugs and surgeries, procedures. Okay, but new medicine, we all think, and I'm giving you this as a tip, that new things are better. In fact, if you look, for instance, at the prescription drugs, the last 200 that were released and patented and allowed, about 2% of them are really better than the older ones. 6 more are slightly better. 92% are no better than the old ones or worse. This is on the effectiveness level. However, on the safety level, the fact is that between 25 to 33% of all prescription drugs are removed by the FDA from the shelf within 2, 3, 4 years from when they started marketing it. Why? Because actually, all of you, when you take something new, you do an experiment. Maybe it will work, maybe it has side effects not yet recognized, and between a quarter to a third is removed by the FDA because it's so dangerous. So if you combine these two things together, you get an 8% chance that a new thing will be good, significantly better than the old one, and 24% chance, 3 times more, that it will be very dangerous. So if you just take something new blind, just take it, 3 times more chances that it will do you very bad than good. And we cannot know this when it's new. Only when there have been written a lot of articles about it, and then they did a systematic review and checked it all, then we can know. So we kind of change the paradigm. The idea is that new is good. We say established and checked and safe is good. Okay, so we're not going to have revenues at the first year. Why? Because one of the things is that it's going to be free anyhow to everybody. But we don't want to have revenues at the first year because it states that we are objective. We have no winning or no angle or no benefit of recommending something or not recommending something. By the way, it's going to be very easy to see that we speak the truth because you have the source and you can compare to the source and see that what's there is only summarized. You want to ask something?
Yeah, question. For all of these research articles and systematic reviews, who will be included in terms of what countries are you getting the information from?
All the countries. All the clinical trials in all languages.
Really?
Yes.
I really have a short question.
Yeah.
Regarding
It can be long.
What?
It can be long. We have time.
Regarding to what you just said before, you said that if you're taking something new, probably it would be more dangerous. Probably, right?
No, it has 2/3 to 3/4 that it's not dangerous, but it has 3-fold chances to be more dangerous than more helpful.
The more
Yeah.
Right. So probably it's kind of, if let's say that you like have a great success, which I really hope that you will have,
Mm-hmm.
and people will get into the study and see it, and probably because of this probability, take like let's take the new stuff.
What will happen to the progress? That's the question?
And if that happens, like less people are going to have the side effects.
Mhm.
So eventually, like will be safer
Yes.
before.
Yes.
You got me?
Yes,
It's
of
like
course.
Evolving, changing of statistics.
Yes.
So making it more safer than what it actually is.
Yes, you spoke about two things. Of course, that if we're going to reduce the unnecessary and damaging choices of treatments, people are going to take safer choices. But the thing is, what happens to progress? If we don't speak about new things, because there are good, old things that are good, what happens to progress? Progress still proceeds. Only people that take new things know that they are under risk. Maybe they do larger experiments, get paid for that, and so on. Okay? Because otherwise, you just take new things and you don't know that it's dangerous. That's not good. How do we make money? So this, from the point of a startup, at least my startup, was the toughest question. Okay? Because there are many, many channels of revenues, but we want to choose the right ones for this impact startup. So one of possibility is that we take money for the information. We don't do it. Everyone will get it for free. A second possibility is that we'll help insurance company decline requests of unnecessary treatments. We're not going to do it because it's against, we're for the public, okay? So that's not the idea. So what we're going to do, after a lot of thought, is to build a platform that connects science, patients, and doctors. The science is the data that I showed you before. The patients is the patient's preferences. Do you have money for a procedure or not? Can you have it a milder procedure, but it will take 2 years? Or do you want it upfront right now, but it's a little bit more dangerous? What are your preferences? Do you take anything they give you, or are you somebody that is reluctant to take treatments usually? And that's personal. But once you fill in a questionnaire, without a questionnaire, you get the data. With a questionnaire, we can tell you people like you prefer this or that. Okay? The third thing is some of the treatments needs prescription, needs a doctor. Okay? If you live in New York, your IP is in New York, we're going to see that you're in New York and recommend you, if you want this treatment, if it's a recommended treatment, here is a doctor around you. If you have a doctor, fine. But if not, this is a recommended doctor. Why is he recommended? Because he's a subscriber at CureFacts. It pays us $400 a year. That's not a lot for him. Every patient he gets at his clinic, he gets probably $200 per visit. But he understands the platform, meaning established science, patients' preferences, and doctor's experience. For instance, in the case of my children, this doctor will tell me, okay, I see that the CureFacts database said that it's not effective, the flu shot. I see that you're a minimalist. You don't want to try things on your kids, only what you have to. But did you ever, even once, gave them the flu shot? And let's say I say no. He say, okay, you should do it once because it's good against SARS. And that's important. And then I say, okay, fine. And that was not written in the systematic review about the flu because it's about SARS. Okay? So we believe that what we want to do is to build evidence-based medicine platform that connects science, patients, and doctors to speak together in a respectful way. I listen to your preferences as a doctor. I listen to your experience as a doctor, as a patient, and we both look what science tells. Yes?
So are you going to be, are these profiles also going to work for hospitals, where certain hospitals can, because
It's possible.
What it sounds like you're creating to me is doctors go into a back-end
Yes.
portion, put in what they do,
Yeah.
right, how they treat patients, right, and a patient puts in their specifics, and then the doctor, it relates a doctor that is similar to what they're looking for.
It's possible that it's possible that an entire hospital would decide that we have 20 doctors and let's do it. Let's connect. Fine.
So you're probably going to have a range of different plans or systems depending on the size of an organization, maybe.
If you're a customer, you just look at recommended doctor and you go visit them. You don't pay nothing. The backend is simple. You pay a subscription. That's it. By the way, let's say a doctor like this will trick us. He will pay $400. He will get patients. They will come with what they saved, facts, and with their preferences. And the doctor will say, this is bullshit, and I recommend this and this, okay? The patients will be able to feedback to the platform, and then probably this doctor is going to be very lower on the rating or removed. So the idea is to build the first ever evidence-based medicine platform. We have some money prediction. It's always hard to do money prediction. But basically, the important thing about our startup is the impact. 1 minute, okay? The impact is measured, impact startups are measured by social ROI. What is a social ROI? It means if I invest in your startup, Ari, $1.5 million, what will society get out of it in money terms? So for example, if they invest in us, and this is what we need right now, if we save 1% of the unnecessary treatments and procedures in the world, we save the world $75 billion. So invest $1.5 million, save $75 billion. And this is only in direct healthcare expenses. It's without thinking about things like work absenteeism, debts, and so on and so on. So we have a nice team. A team in a startup, it's very hard to connect. It takes time. So I told you a little bit about me. Tal, our CTO, is expert in internet, connectivity, information system for about 15 years. He's very good at what he's doing. I was very lucky to be selected to Tech for Good Rally Accelerator. If any of you ever want to do a startup, any of you want to do? Someone here wants to do a startup? So there is only one word you want to know: accelerator. See, I have about 30 years of experience as a strategic consultant. I worked with very big companies. However, I went into the accelerator together with people 20 years old. I'm 52, okay? And I learned so much because high tech and startups is a different thing. You have to know how to pitch. You have to know how to create a business model. You have to know so many things. So accelerator is the best answer for that. At the Tech for Good Rally, we got about 60 to 70 different advisors. With 30 of them, I spoke, for example, about the business model, and with many others on other things. We had lectures, and we had 8 wonderful startups that assisted each other, all impact startups. And some of our advisors there are these 2 people, Michal and Sar, that are experts in NLP, natural language processing. So they enable the technology behind what we're doing. And Safrir Attar is actually now the head of the accelerator of Citibank. But when I worked with him, he was the VP development of Citibank. He actually was managing the application, the biggest financial application in the world, okay? Because it's of Citibank. So it's nice because when you're in accelerator, you get very good connections, advisors, and so on.
That's a program that you attended?
Yeah, I attended the Tech for Good Rally Accelerator. Now, I skipped a question before, so do you want to ask?
Yeah, I guess I was just sort of wondering, like, how much information the patient submits when they're like trying to seek out a treatment.
Okay.
Because I saw like
you mean the privacy of information? That's the concern?
privacy. No,
So
not privacy, but like
they can write flu, and they get all the treatments to flu. They can write flu shots, and they get all the treatments to flu shot.
what I'm asking is like, so when a doctor is like diagnosing a patient,
Uh-huh.
they have to ask about their past medical history, their
Right.
family history, their social
Right.
history,
Can we ask it at the website?
are they submitting these things at the
Probably most of them not. We more speak about their preferences as patients, as consumers. Can you withstand pain or not? If not, maybe injection is not good for you. Okay, this type of things. If they want to submit personal information like I have diabetes, they probably can do it, but they can also search through it. They can search for flu shot for diabetic patients and get answers.
You give them the option to
Yes.
submit their medical history or other.
We don't want to. We don't want to. We will have a questionnaire, and still we started just with the building. It's building blocks, so we're just building now the database. Okay, the database and the information. Later on the preferences, and we really don't want to get their personal files. Yes.
How do you plan on getting more visitors to your website? Like, what's your marketing?
Our marketing is, first of all, very strong SEO, and we really know to do it, okay? And the second thing is, as I said, trick or treatment, social marketing. And the third thing, probably we'll have a PR, and it will be nice to be in Oprah or something like that, so always help, right? 1 minute before more questions. So basically, this sums up the pitch presentation of what we're doing. Now, it leaves us time or room for questions and answers. I'm going to really quickly show you some screens, okay, just to get the impression of it. Okay, this is, if I go back here, let's say I choose this and this, or this and this, and I want to compare between them. You see, there is a compare here. So I want to compare between them. There is up there, there is a compare. So I want to compare. I can choose two of them, and then I get comparison between them, exactly like when we buy products in eBay. When we read more, we get much more information about every detail, and so on. And these are the various icons that some treatments are helpful, as you can see. Many treatments are unclear, meaning that there is no research done about them. Now, what I want to do with the 10 minutes, we have 10 minutes? Okay. What I want to do with the 10 minutes that are left, let's put it here, is I want you all to take your smartphones. I'll answer some more questions soon, okay? Take your smartphones out and go to Facebook or Facebook application. Okay? Everybody, please. I need your help. Search for CureFacts. C-U-R-E, like there, up there. Okay, you found it? First of all, like it, and I'll tell you why. You have to do something. So first of all, like it. You can unlike it later on if you don't like it. Okay? Second of all, maybe I'll go backwards a little bit. Second of all, okay, take a picture of yourself with this screen and me, a selfie, just turn around. Okay? Everybody, please. With the screen, with me, whatever, but with yourself. With all of you. That's a memory.
Okay.
A selfie list.
Do you want us to post it to your page?
No. I don't think you can, because you cannot post in my page. Okay, everybody? This, you have to understand, every minute, hundreds of people die because they take the wrong treatment. So this is your contribution to social impact. Now, the next thing, if you took a picture, upload it to your Facebook. Upload it to your Facebook, okay? Can you?
Yes.
And the last thing I want you to do is to tag CureFacts, because now you have liked it, so you have the page, so you can tag it. Okay? Now, I will summarize my part and I'll answer some more questions. My part is I hope you enjoy your visit in Israel, and I hope you enjoy your visit here today, and I hope some of you will choose to become startupists, and I really hope some of you will choose to become impact startupists or social startupists, meaning to do something that both does money but really changes the world. And I think that as far as I understand about your generation, and I'm a marketing expert, you're the right generation to do it. So I really hope many of you will initiate impact startups. For those of you who not, you can at least share the message. And the last thought about what I'm doing, since the database is not ready and it's not on, now you know CureFacts and you know the page of CureFacts, so you can always contact me through that. You or your dear ones or your families, if you have any question about, I have this and this problem, what are the right treatments, just send us and we will do it for you for free. We will serve two things. We will help you and we will increase our database. Okay? So you have a free ticket to consult about anything you want medical. Bear in mind, I'm not a doctor. I will personally help you. But I will give you the sources of information and the summary of the results, and you can take it from there. Okay? Questions? Yes?
How much money have you guys raised so far?
0. I'm doing it from my pocket money so far. I spent quite some money, and we're pre-seed. I don't want, that's one important message to entrepreneurs, don't try to raise money before you're ready. I need a team in place. I need, by the way, maybe you can help in that, very strong scientific advisors in United States. Very strong is like ex-manager of the FDA, this type of strong, okay? And once we have the alpha and we have the team and we have more things going within a month, then we go to investors. We've been approached by quite a few investors, but we want to be ready. Yes?
In terms of, so many questions for you. Are the treatments and all of your facts and whatnot, are they region specific in terms of if someone's researching on your website from Los Angeles, the treatment's going to be different than if they're living in Argentina?
Okay, the major thing that is different is the brand names. For instance, flu shot in England, it's called flu jar. Okay, they're strange people. Okay, so the difference is the brand names. The substance, okay, the effective material that works in the drugs is the same all over the world. Now, maybe there is some bizarre treatment in Nicaragua. Okay, the question is very simple. Was it researched with clinical trials? Is there a systematic review on it? If yes, we're going to have it. If not, science doesn't know to tell is it good or not. You can try it, but maybe try things that science says they're green, they're good. Yes? Yes?
Is it going to be an app as well, or just a website?
Currently, we're doing it as a website, but we have mobile pages, meaning that on your mobile, it's going to be really fitting to mobile. I can show you after the lesson the pages to the lecture, the pages to the mobile. It's really readable for mobile. Wait, yes?
I'm the one who asked. Sorry.
Cool.
What's the approach to get, because you said,
I like your T-shirt, by the way. I have a cousin, so.
Oh, really? Thank
Yeah.
you. We live in Texas.
Okay.
And what's your approach to getting doctors to get on board with this? To use
The thing is that we're going to create a platform that the doctors are included, and they're going to send us feedback. However, we're not going to take this feedback for granted. We're going to inspect it, filter it, and then implement it. Why? You understand why. Big pharma.
Follow-up question?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that I understand what CureFacts is. CureFacts is not, you don't type in something and it suggests what to do. It presents you with information and then you can either take that information and go somewhere with it, correct?
It does this. Let's go back. It simply does this.
Would you already need to know what
This.
the treatment is, or would it suggest?
This is what it does. You have a search engine or index. You see, search engine or index. I wrote flu vaccine. I selected toddlers and children in the filter, and then I get all the 4 treatments for toddlers and children that are flu shot.
And then the next move would be.
The next move, if you want to read more, you get full information about one treatment. If you want to compare two, and if you want to save it or share it, you can do it. Basically, that's it. Yes, sorry.
Like 2 last questions.
Okay, sorry.
Assuming that you get a good portion of doctors to sign up for the yearly annual fee, how do you monetize after that?
How do we grow after that? Well, the thing is, it's proportional to the amount of traffic we have. If we have 10 million visitors a month, we probably need 10,000 to 20,000 doctors in the United States. If we have 30, we need more. So this is how we're going to grow. And then we go to other English-speaking languages countries, and then to other languages. I always ask the first row, but okay, you do it politely. So.
My question is it just medications, or is it also like diseases? Like, can you search like diabetes?
You can write flu, and you have all the treatments to flu. You can write flu vaccine, and you have all the flu vaccines.
But I'm saying like, I was thinking for like diabetes. Can you search like diabetes, and these are the medications you should take?
Yes. That's a condition. You can write either a treatment or a condition. Usually, the combination is a treatment for a condition for a population or a subpopulation. For pregnant women, asthmatic. Okay? These are the possibilities. Thank you very much. Enjoy Israel.